It was Saturday night inside the Birampur fort, and the air was suffocating. The local tantric had drawn a massive chakra in the dust, demanding absolute stillness from the small group gathered in the center. The ritual fractured when Meghna's eyes rolled completely white. Her body trembled, and then she slowly lifted off the ground, her voice dropping into a heavy, commanding tone that belonged to the ancient princess Meghalaya. Guided by the possession, she reached toward a worn stone wall. She drew a strange, bleeding sigil with her bare finger. The moment the symbol was complete, the heavy stone wall ground backward, revealing a dark, descending staircase. At the bottom of those stairs sat a pristine, hidden chamber. In the center lay a heavy, iron-bound book wrapped in red cloth, the Birampur Purana. By breaking the seal on the iron-bound text, they had triggered a silent alarm. The fort's ancient internal mechanisms were now active and hungry. From the top of the stairs came a terrible, rhythmic sound. Kut, kut, kut. 4 shadowy figures with eyes like glowing embers were descending into the chamber, slowly dragging an ancient wooden box behind them. These were the Nashir Molo. They were entities operating entirely on the logic of 1626, violently demanding a corpse they were owed centuries ago. You cannot shoot or fight something that is already dead and operating on rules you don't understand. The group was trapped underground. Their only option was to escape, read the Purana, and figure out the exact mechanics before the spirits caught them. The tantric bought them 10 seconds. He threw glowing ash into the air, creating a blinding illusion that confused the spirits. This gave the group just enough time to dive into a narrow, hidden escape tunnel. They emerged by a dry riverbed behind the fort, gasping for air under a dim moon. Knowing their time was short, Meghna opened the Purana and turned straight to the final pages. This historical diagram maps the exact mechanics of the 1626 curse. According to the text, Princess Meghalaya never actually killed her rival, the witch Damayanti. Instead, she used a powerful elixir called the Mrityunjay Amrit to force the witch into a permanent, dormant sleep. The diagram expands to show the collateral damage, the Nashir Molo. These spirits were cursed to wander the earth carrying their heavy coffin until they could bury an exact set of bodies. They have 10 filled graves, but there is one missing. The Purana reveals the terrible secret. The empty 11th grave belongs to the dormant body of the witch Damayanti. Defeating these immortal shadow entities doesn't require weapons. It requires giving them the exact witch they have been searching for over the last 400 years. That realization was immediately shattered by the loud ringing of a cell phone. A frantic doctor from the village hospital was on the line. He told them 2 villagers had vanished, a body was stolen from the morgue, and the actual tantric was found dead in the woods yesterday. The hospital's inventory was a grim list for a ritual: 2 living villagers gone and a corpse missing from the morgue. This matches the exact requirements for the final sacrificial cycle described in the Purana. The man who led them into the fort, the guide who stood beside them all night, was the shape-shifting witch Damayanti. The path to the hidden chamber required a royal bloodline to open the door, something a witch couldn't do alone. Now, with Meghna carrying the only surviving sample of the elixir, the trap is finally shut. The group sprinted to the village hospital. They arrived to find the morgue completely silent, the fluorescent lights flickering over a floor slick with fresh blood. Standing over the stolen bodies, the false tantric dropped her disguise. She was a 400-year-old predator, ready to consume the final drops of the elixir. But before Damayanti could move, the hospital windows shattered. The Nashir Molo crashed into the sterile room with their rotting wooden coffin, tracking down the scent of the bloodline. Meghna and her friends were completely boxed in. On one side, an immortal witch. On the other, relentless demons. Survival meant executing a flawless plan, based entirely on the ancient text. Meghna stepped directly between the monsters. She held up the heavy book, channeling the voice of Princess Meghalaya, and commanded the spirits to look at the witch. She pulled out the vial of Mrityunjay Amrit and splashed it straight onto the pages of the Birampur Purana. As the sacred liquid hit the paper, a brilliant green light erupted across the room, completely destroying the centuries-old illusion that had blinded the spirits. For the first time in 400 years, the Nishir Molo saw exactly who was standing in front of them, their missing 11th corpse. They immediately seized the screaming witch, violently dragging her into their rotting wooden coffin, and vanished completely into thin air. The ancient blood debt was finally closed, and the village was safe, because the group understood that to survive the horrors of the present, they had to master the mechanics of the past.